it's Katie, and today I'm going to show you how to make this super delicious fall-inspired stuffing recipe. This is my family's go-to Thanksgiving stuffing recipe. It is loaded with delicious fall flavors like butternut squash and greens, crimini mushrooms, cranberries, and walnuts. It's so delicious, I love it so much, and I'm going to show you how to make it. This video is also a collaboration with two other awesome YouTubers, Tom from Old Man Cooking and Tess from Tess Cooks For You. We've gotten together and we're each making our best stuffing recipe. So when you're done watching my video, be sure to check out not only their videos, but their entire channels. They've each created awesome channels with a whole catalog of amazing video recipes, and they're making new things all the time. So be sure to check their channels out, subscribe, leave them a comment, and let them know that you appreciate them as much as I do. Alright, so let's get started on this recipe. I'm going to start by making my bread cubes, and I'm just going to dice up a loaf of bread. I made this loaf of bread and I will link the recipe down below. I got it from King Arthur Flour's website. I'll also list the adjustments because I switched it up just a little bit, but it's just a sort of rustic country loaf. It's whole wheat. I also put some flaxseed in there, but you could use any sort of crusty loaf bread that you want. French bread or Italian bread would work. Whole wheat, white, sourdough, anything that you like, and I'm cutting it into sort of large cubes. These are about 1.5 inches, so you get a nice sort of hearty, rustic stuffing. And you can either leave these on your counter covered with a tea towel for a few days to dry out, or put them in a 200-degree oven for 20 or 30 minutes until they're dried out. Next, I'm going to roast up some vegetables. I have a medium butternut squash that I have peeled and seeded and diced in about 1-inch cubes. I also have a pound of crimini mushrooms that I have either halved or quartered depending on their size. You want them similar size to the butternut squash. And I just put some olive oil, salt, and pepper. I spread them out on a sheet pan, and I'm going to put those in the oven at 400 degrees for about 30 minutes. The rest of the vegetables I'm going to saute together. I have an onion, I have the center of a stalk of celery or 2 ribs of celery. I just like the center because it has those leaves which have tons of flavor. And the greens I'm using is a mixture of Swiss chard, mustard greens, and kale. Some of those are from my garden. You just want a good kind of medium bunch of those. As far as herbs, I have fresh parsley, fresh sage, and dried thyme. The sage and the thyme you can use dried, but go ahead and use fresh parsley. It really does make a difference. So I'm just going to saute all these vegetables together. I'm going to start with the onions and the celery. Just put some olive oil in my pan, and I'm going to put those aromatic vegetables and just saute them until they start to get soft. And I'm going to season all these layers with salt and pepper all the way through so you have a nicely seasoned stuffing. Once your onions and celery are starting to get soft, I'm going to go ahead and throw all of the greens. I have those sort of roughly chopped into bite-sized pieces, and it's going to fill your pan up, but don't worry, just stir it around a little bit, and it only takes about 2 minutes to cook down to a more manageable size. If you want to put the lid on, that can help also sort of wilt it down a little bit. So once it's wilted down, I'm going to throw in my parsley, my minced sage, and my dried thyme. And I'm just going to stir that together and cook it for another minute or so. And then I'm going to take this off the heat and let it cool completely. By that time, my squash and my mushrooms are done roasting, so I'm going to pull those out of the oven and let those cool. And my bread cubes are toasted. So all of these steps you could do ahead of time, and then the day that you're going to go ahead and make your stuffing, you just combine everything in the bowl. So I had my sauteed vegetables, my roasted vegetables, and then my bread cubes. And I'm just putting them in a large bowl so I can toss them all around. And this part doesn't take very long, so if you did all that prep work ahead of time, then it's simple, just dump everything together, stir in the last few ingredients, and you're ready to go. I'm also going to add about 1/2 cup of sweetened dried cranberries. I made these cranberries last year. I will put a link in the description to how I made them. And I also put 1/2 cup of walnuts. Those are just walnut pieces. And now I'm going to put all of the wet ingredients. So I like to add eggs to my stuffing. This is optional. I just like the way that it changes the texture. It almost makes the stuffing more of a savory bread pudding. If you wanted to omit them, this recipe can be made 100% vegan. So I started with 2 eggs, I beat them, and I'm just tossing them with the other ingredients. I ended up adding a 3rd egg. You just want a thin coating of egg on all of your ingredients. And once I had that thoroughly mixed in, I'm going to go ahead and start adding stock. I'm using chicken stock, but if you wanted, like I said, to keep it vegan, you could use veggie stock. And I added about a pint of stock. You want it so that once you stir it and it's coated on all of the pieces, you still want it to puddle a little bit. I also let mine sit for about 5 or 10 minutes and checked to make sure there was still some liquid pooling in the bottom. There wasn't quite enough liquid for my liking, so I did add another glug of stock, stirred that around, and then it was ready to put into a greased casserole dish. I have a 9 by 13 inch greased casserole dish, and I'm just going to dump all of the stuffing into the casserole dish. Then I'm just going to kind of even it out a little bit, and I'm going to very lightly press it down. You want all of the pieces to kind of make contact with each other. You don't want to smash it too much, but you just kind of want to pat it down. Then I'm going to put a little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil on top to get a nice brown on top. And then you bake it in the oven 350 degrees for an hour, and that's what it looks like when it comes out. Like I said, this is so delicious. It's got tons of great flavors, and I think you'll like it as much as my family does. So I want to thank you for watching my video, and please be sure to check out all of the other recipes in this collaboration. Tess is making fried stuffing, Tom is making cornbread stuffing, so I'm sure you'll find something that you like and maybe something that can find its way on your Thanksgiving table. Thanks so much for watching.